So if you struggle with creating some routine and some order in your life, then this video is for you. I'm pretty sure you know what you want to focus on and you know how to do it and you know when to do it. You know what you need, but that tiny voice is probably the thing that's getting in your way. And we have to know what to say so that tiny voice does not win. Here's the thing about routines. I like to start with mindset first, because I bet when you think about the new routine, we're already, thinking about all the 100 things that could go wrong and what if this happened and how I'm supposed to accommodate this and all of these things. And so I want you to actually start by clearing your mind of any of that. Just take a second right now to just say, let me just clear my mind of whatever I'm thinking about in terms of this new routine, in terms of what may go wrong, and just let that go. So that's part one. Let's let all of that go so that we can actually walk into our new routine and start our new routine with something fresh. So that's number one. Number two is actually thinking about, well, why does this routine matter? What is the compelling reason why you need to take action right now and implement this new routine? Perfect example, right now I am working on two things. First thing is clearing my skin. Second thing is cellulite. And so I have taken some pretty, serious steps, that I've added some new things into my routine because having clear skin and being cellulite free is super important to me. And so number two is to think about, what is the compelling reason? Why does this new routine or having order or establishing this routine actually matter? And so maybe it is weight loss. Maybe it is now you have to help your kids with some homework. Maybe it is conquering meal planning and meal prepping. But why does any of that matter? If we can't come up with the reason why it matters, the routine is not going to be sustainable. It has to be super, super, super important to you. It's going to help you stick with the routine. So that's number two before we even get into any of the nitty gritty. So one, clear your mind. I know you're already thinking like, but what about this? What am I going to do? And we got to clear our mind from that. We're not going to think about what's going to go wrong. In fact, we actually want to think about what's going to go right and how we can be successful. Number two is to identify why any of this matters. Why does this routine matter? Why is creating order going to be helpful and pushing you further in some way? We have to have that reason why. Now we can get into some of the real stuff. So step three is really about identifying one thing. Too often we want to jump in and, do everything at once. You want to start a fitness routine, start working out. You want to start eating clean, get rid of sugar from your diet and do all of these things. Get up early in the morning and all of that. And it's just really too much. And then what happens is you're overwhelmed. Then we're back into our head. And then what do? We're back into no routine and we're back into having, a lack of order. And so what I'm going to suggest is to start with one thing. Like, what is the one thing right now that's driving you crazy that you want to create some order in, and focus on just that? Maybe right now, with working from home and the gyms being closed and different things, you're really trying to figure out, how do I incorporate working out at home? That's something to focus on. You're home, kids are home now. It's like, how do I establish eating times throughout my day? That's something to focus on. But to do all of those things at one time, I wouldn't suggest that, because now we're just doing too much, trying to tackle too much all at the same time. And that leaves us where we are with like all over the place. And so my objective is that we are not all over the place and that we can figure out what we're gonna do. And so hopefully you have something to write on. I have my notes here and you're like, what do I actually wanna focus on? That is gonna be essential. Just pick one thing, whether it's a workout routine, whether it's an eating routine, whether it's when you're gonna meal prep, when you're gonna meal plan, when you're gonna do work from home, all of these things. Once you have that in your mind, now we can begin to break down some of the steps and create some order and figure out how you're gonna do that. So I have 5 questions that I want you to write down as I say them, so that you can figure out what it is and how you're going to create some order. So the first question is, what will you do? And so what does that actually mean? If we are trying to establish a workout routine at home, the what will you do is work out at home, right? And so that's an easy one. What will you do? That's that focal point. What am I focusing on? Keeping in mind that you have to have that compelling vision. without the compelling vision, the what will you do is not going to be strong or sustainable. And number 2 is when will you do it? Has to be super specific. So if you're saying, well, sometimes I'll do it this time, and then maybe I'll do it this time, it has to be clear. And so if you're going to establish a fitness routine and that's going to be your thing, it needs to be, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. or 5:45, because now we're kind of at home. I'm going to get up at 5:45. I'm going to get ready. I'm going to log on to my workout, and I'm going to work out at 6 a.m. We want to just be laser focused and not give any room for any gray. Well, I could do that 6. I could do that 7. I could do that all these times. Pick a time that you know will work for you, keeping in mind maybe your kids and different things, husband, whoever may be around. When can you actually commit? One time. When can you actually commit? Number 3 is how much time will you give to it in terms of a 45-minute workout? 45 minutes. You want to allocate time to these things so that it fits in somewhere. We have to get super clear about what our time looks like throughout the day. Now, the last 2 are really kind of related, and it's a what and who do you need to be set up for success. And so let's say it's the at-home fitness routine. What do you need to be set up for success in that regard? Make sure your computer's charged. You got to make sure your clothes are where they need to be. You got to make sure that you have your water ready and your mat's out and your mat's clean. You want to make sure you have these things kind of already in place so that when it's time to roll out this routine, that you're already set up and successful. But maybe it's like, your husband and making sure, hey, can you take care of the little one while I do my 45-minute workout? Hey, I'm going to work out in the living room. Can you guys, sit in the bedroom and kind of have your headphones on? It's really figuring out, well, how do I need to maneuver things in this space so that I am successful? We all get in our heads, that tiny voice is saying, why bother? It's saying like, it ain't gonna work. That tiny voice is we want to figure out what can we say when that voice is in our head saying like, nah, don't do that. You don't got to do that today. Start tomorrow. We want to go against that tiny voice, and we want to be able to do that in like 5 seconds. So let's say the alarm goes off, it's 5:45, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm not trying to get up. Your voice is like, no, stay in bed. You have to have that compelling reason and saying, no, I'm going to do this for me. I'm worth it. I deserve it. And you get your butt out of bed. You want to have that one line that you say to yourself every single time, that tiny voice, because the tiny voice will always appear. They will always appear. You want to have that in your mind and say it to yourself so that you can nip it in the bud really quickly so that you can take action. I'm pretty sure you know what you want to focus on, and you know how to do it, and you know when to do it. You know what you need, but that tiny voice is probably the thing that's getting in your way. And we have to know what to say so that tiny voice does not win. Tomorrow's day 1. Tomorrow is the perfect opportunity, and every day is just one day at a time. One workout, one meal, one day at a time, and essentially every day, right? But we want to make it bite-sized, and how do we be successful? And so those are my tips to establish some routine. Now, it's not going to happen right away. Like, you literally have to sit down and say, how am I going to do this? What is my compelling reason? When can I get these things in? And then it's time to take action. You do all that, and then we have to quiet that voice in our head so that we can actually take action.